Angel here, and today I'm going to share with you guys how to make my personal favorite Filipino dish, Kare Kare. Now, Kare Kare is a traditional Filipino beef stew. It is very rich and decadent, and it's flavored with peanut butter, and it's what gives it that nutty, creamy taste. I know if you're not familiar with peanuts in your stew or peanut butter in your savory dishes, buckle down, guys, because today is the day that I'm gonna get you on peanut butter in your stew because it's so good. It's not overly sweet. It just adds that extra creamy sweetness. It is so good. I really advertise this dish because a lot of Filipino cooking, a lot of people know lumpia, adobo, pancit, you know, just like the typical Filipino food fare. But Kare Kare is my favorite Filipino dish. Let's get it. Let's go. Buckle down, guys, because I'm going to share with you guys the best Filipino dish on this planet. So for Kare Kare, it's usually made out of beef. Traditionally, it's made out of oxtails. You could use chuck, any type of stew meat. In this case, it's going to be very special. I'm treating myself. We are going to be doing it with short ribs. And what's really great about short ribs, especially if you use like a bone-in meat, the bone is going to flavor the Kare Kare sauce. So we have our short ribs. We are going to go ahead and season them because we're gonna sear them before we braise them. And I'm just gonna season them very simply. Salt. Make sure you get all sides of your short ribs. Okay, we are going to sear these short ribs. We don't want to crowd the pan, so we're gonna do them in batches. Based on how big your pot is, just do it however many batches you want. I have some avocado oil. It's really hot. It's going to spark, but we really want a very crusty crust on all sides of the short rib. So we're gonna fry each side until there's a crust that's formed. Listen to the sizzle. Woo-wee. That is the sound we want, everyone. All right, so we're gonna let it sizzle for about maybe 2 minutes, flip, vice versa. We're gonna take out this batch and then we're gonna put the other batch and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, short ribs are seared. We are gonna do the base of the Kare Kare, which is 1 onion, which we're gonna dice. And then we always wanna keep the butt of the onion because, fun fact, if you hold on to this, you will not cry. I learned this trick, I don't know where, I don't know who. I heard about it a long time ago on Food Network. I really want to say it was Rachel Ray, is the trick. So you hold on to this butt of the onion. I don't know, the idea is so that it doesn't like break all the onion cells and you cry, blah, blah, blah. Hold on to the onion and it makes it easier to cut. And we're just gonna do vertical slices like this. Just like that. Doesn't matter how chunky you're gonna make the onion because we're gonna blend the sauce at the end of this, so it doesn't need to be perfect. And then you just cut, just like that. And you're just gonna keep cutting it, and you can see the onion is holding on to its shape, makes it easier to cut because the butt is connected to it. Just like that. And voila, you have a butt. You throw away the butt. We're also gonna need a ton of garlic. How many cloves of garlic do you need? I'm just gonna say a handful. So this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, like 13 cloves of garlic. I think the recipe calls for 6. I think it naturally calls for 6, but y'all know me on this channel. We don't follow the rules when it comes to garlic. Like I said, so there's no point of dicing this garlic because at the end of all of this, we're going to blend the sauce. So I'm just smashing the garlic so that all the flavor can release when we saute it with the onions. So this is all I'm doing, just on the back of your knife, just go wha-bam. And then you got a flat piece of garlic and all the innards are gonna be exposed and it's gonna make everything taste delicious. The last part of the base is something called annato powder, which is made out of annato seeds. I couldn't find the powder this time, so I'm gonna make my own powder, which is just taking the annato seeds and then blending it up. Basically, this is not really a flavor component, just more so for color. I think it has a very subtle flavor I've seen and I've heard if you don't have annatto powder, you can replace this with paprika. I personally never tried it myself, but I kind of believe it because paprika doesn't have really much of a flavor. It's really subtle, it's really meant for color, and that's just the same idea with annatto powder. And look how fun this little blender is. I got this from Temu. I typically use this for garlic, but super simple. You just charge it whenever you need it and you just take it to go. Look, I could just blend anything, anywhere, anytime. Look at that. Now the last bit of your base, this is sort of optional, is roasted rice powder. You can buy it like this in the Asian supermarket, or you can make it yourself, whichever you'd like. I've had kare kare with or without this roasted rice powder. It just adds an extra nuttiness and thickness to the sauce, but like I said, it's not 100% necessary, but if you have it, add it. Let's put everything together. We are just going to ceremoniously dump the onions and the garlic, but we're basically going to saute these aromatics until they're translucent, and then we're gonna add the annatto powder and the rice powder. So onions are now translucent. It's time to add the annatto powder. I have about a teaspoon of it, maybe a teaspoon and a half. And then for the roasted rice powder, I am going to add a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons. The directions will be down below. Perfect. And then we're going to saute this up, just like that, until it's a little fragrant. We just want to toast these, the annatto powder and the rice powder a little bit and let it get coated with the onions and the garlic. It is time to reintroduce our short ribs back into the pot. Say hello to your onion and garlic and annatto powder and rice friends, short ribs. So we're just gonna plop it in there. And then now we are going to cover this whole thing with water. Okay, so you just wanna cover the beef until it's just covered with water. You can use beef broth, or you can do exactly what I'm about to do, beef bouillon. So you just want to follow the instructions on your beef bouillon based on how many cups of water per teaspoon, and just like that. But like I said, you are more than welcome to use beef broth. I just so happen to have a ton of beef bouillon. We are going to braise this covered for about 1 to 2 hours. I'm going to check after the first hour mark, kind of move things around, kind of check the meat, cover it again for another hour and see how tender the meat is. And we're gonna move on to the final step. We're almost at the end. The beef is almost ready. It's time to introduce some vegetables. These are the traditional vegetables that we normally use in kare kare. We have some sliced eggplant, green beans, and then my favorite part, bok choy. And so essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna blanch these vegetables in a separate pot with boiling water. We're just gonna blanch them real quick so that they're just nice and soft, and then we're gonna reintroduce them back into the sauce. Okay, now that the meat has been braising for about 2 hours, or just really until the meat gets all like fall off the bony and tender, we're gonna take the meat out, all the pieces, don't forget anything, because basically what we're going to do is we're gonna take this meat out, and then we're gonna put the broth and the rest of the ingredients in the blender and then mix it off. Oh, look at that. See, the meat is literally coming off the bone right now. Literally falling off the bone. Like, we almost don't need the bone. Remember that bone flavored this sauce alongside the beef bouillon. We are going to ladle the broth into our blender, just like this. Before we blend anything in this blender, we're going to go ahead and add peanut butter. You can use whatever peanut butter you want. Traditionally, it's usually just like the easy stuff. Jif, Skippy, you know, Peter Pan. But here I got some just natural peanut butter. In this case, I might have to add sugar. All right, let's go ahead and blend this up. This is basically the color that you're looking for. Now that our sauce is here, we want a very creamy, very peanut buttery looking sauce. We're gonna go ahead and taste it and see what it needs. Salt, sugar, whatever, more peanut butter. Actually, wow. I think that's perfect. We are going to go ahead and reintroduce the meat back into the sauce. Just gonna plop it in there, as well as all our vegetables. I just plop it all in there. And then we're just going to mix. We want to simmer this for a little, maybe a few more minutes, just to get all the flavors acquainted with each other and let the sauce adhere to the meat and the veg. All right, so how you eat this dish. Is you eat it with a side of bouillon, which is salted shrimp paste, and some rice. So basically, you have a little bit of the salty shrimp paste, which is a good contrast with the sweet peanutty stew, rice, and then all your vegetables and your meat. And I'm telling you guys, this is the combination of a century. And then look at this meat. Like, I don't know if you guys could see. Like, it is tender. I don't know how else. I'm trying to find the best way to show you without spilling it, but look at that. No fork needed, no knife needed. All right, let's give it a try. So good. Guys, this is like my favorite meal. The meat is so tender, so delicious. Let's try green bean. See, it's a little crunchy, but fully cooked. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you love traditional, delicious Filipino food like this. Or well, just me. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.